Hi, I'm Martin from Printer Potty. What we're going to be showing you in this video is how to fit a Printer Potty external waste ink tank to this Epson XP-55 photo printer. If you're looking for our video on how to change the printer pads, then I suggest you click on this link here and that will take you to the correct video. But with no further ado, let's get on with fitting this kit. In terms of tools, you're going to need a crosshead Phillips screwdriver. You'll need our XP3 Printer Potty kit. One of these flathead screwdrivers will certainly help. It's unlikely you're going to need forceps, but we find them quite handy to have around. And the last things you're going to want is a set, something like this container, to put any rubbish or ink stained material that you might have in. You'll also notice I've got a pair of gloves on, mostly because I always forget to put them on later on in the video. A pair of gloves is always a good idea, just in case there's a little bit of waste floating around. Fitting an external tank doesn't tend to get quite as messy. Anyway, let's get started. In order to remove this front panel here, you're going to need to use your crosshead screwdriver to remove 3 screws. 2 of them are obvious, and the third one I'll show you in just a minute. So first and foremost, we have this one here. Take that off, find somewhere safe for it to go. Then we have this one here. And last but not least, there is actually a third one just here. Now to get to it, if you take out your paper tray and just put that to the back somewhere. Now, with other videos we've done, we tend to show you how to tip the printer and all the rest of it. But if you're tipping a printer with cartridges in, then ink can flow. And in fact, there are signs of that having happened when this was transported in and around the back here. So rather than doing that, I'm going to show you an alternative approach that avoids you actually doing that. What you do is move your printer so that the front panel is over this ledge here, so you can get your screwdriver to come underneath and access it. The screw itself, and I'm only lifting this up to actually show you, the screw itself is actually located just here. We're going to pull the printer over to the edge like this and then remove the screw here from underneath. Okay. Like that. Once you've done that, you can push the printer back on to your desk fully. Now to remove this panel here, what you do is get your fingers underneath the front here where the panel exists, like that. It's just the edge, just that edge there. Okay, either side. I'll do that again. Okay, you're just literally pulling on this little bit here and lifting up. And the panel will release like that. You can then take that off and put it to one side. You can now see into the area above the waste pad holder. In this section here, the waste pad holder exists underneath. Okay, so behind this panel, the waste pad holder exists. This tube here is going down onto a little spigot, which then jets ink down into the pads beneath it. All we're going to do is release the little butterfly clamp that you can just see here, so that we can then pull the waste tube off the little spigot that directs the ink down into the pad holder, and we're then going to redirect that out using our external bit of tubing so that it can then go into the tank. In this case, there's absolutely no need to drill any holes in this particular case unless you really feel the need to. Okay? So in order to remove this, what you do is you pinch the 2 little wings or arms of this little clamp together and then push them up. Now, you're not going to be able to see me do this, unfortunately, but it is easily possible. It's easier to show you once I've actually got the tube out. But as you can see, I've managed to move that little clamp just there up and out of the way. That now means that I can get hold of this bit of waste tubing here and just gently, like that, ease it off the little spigot there and aim it out. Okay, like that. That's your waste tube. At this point, you have a couple of options. Option 1, and the simplest, is to remove this panel here with these 2 screws. Like so. And remove that panel. Okay. What you then do is you take your extension tube from your printer potty kit. You then plug this into your bit of tubing here, like so. And just as a note, if your tube is actually, if your plug, this bit here, goes into your tube that readily, what you do, if it's stretched like this here, so you can just about see there, it's a little bit wider. So what we recommend you do is just chop it about there, like that, and then stick your barb connector into the tube like that, where it will actually have a much more solid and stable connection. Okay, and then you just get your little butterfly clamp like that, and get it to hold the whole thing on. Okay, once you've done that, and just twist it a little bit like so, and direct your waste tube, then what you do is, using the 2 tube guides that we have here with the adhesive pads, what you do then is you use these to remove the backing like so, put your tube through like that, and then you put the first one around about there, just to give it a bit of guidance like that, and your second one you put down, so second one you put your tube through the bit there, and again remove your backing like that, and you stick that one around about there. Critical point: if you install your waste tube like this, you'll not be putting this back on, you'll be putting that away somewhere. You'll be replacing this panel back on like this, and your waste tube will come out underneath and out like that side. That's how we've done things for quite some time, and it works just fine. If, however, you're not happy with that kind of approach where the tubing could potentially be pulled and things, your alternative option is to leave this panel on and instead drill a small exit hole somewhere around about here and through a 4.5mm hole, and then attach your extension tube through that so that you can then have the tube come out through that hole. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Take this up to the edge around about here and drill my hole up and through around about here. Now that I've got my hole in the right place, I'm now going to detach the tube, the extension tube, from my elbow fitting here, and I'm going to feed that through my hole that I just made, like so. Push that bit of tubing through there, and then reattach this bit onto that bit there, like so. Once that's done, then just gently pull that down to about there, reorganize things a little bit, and there you go. Now that's all hooked up like that, I then put our front panel back on as before. So hinge at the top, bring down, click, click there. That's now in position, and the last thing to do is put the screws in on the top and underneath here. So first screw is this one here. Second screw is this one over here. And the last screw is the one that goes under here, which again means bring the printer over to the edge, come underneath and put my screw in under there. Move the printer back onto the desk proper. I can close the lid and replace the paper tray, like so. As you can see, this approach means that the waste tube is now coming through that drilled hole underneath, and the benefit of this one, where you drill through the hole, versus the one where you just use the little tube clamps like this and remove this panel, the benefit of this approach is that you have a strain relief, and if anything happens that yanks this, it won't pull the waste tube internally in a way that could damage the pump and basically break the printer. So this approach is probably preferable if you are a bit accident prone like I am, but it's not absolutely essential. You can use that other approach and use the little clips, the little tube guides that we showed you earlier. Okay, now the one thing that remains to do with this is to set up your tank. So your vent hole always goes to the valve end. You put your lid on like so, and then you attach your tube connector here, rotate it on clockwise onto the valve, and that opens that valve up automatically. Last thing to do is make sure that this is open. That is open. If it's clamped like that, it squeezes the tube shut and stops the waste ink flowing. So you need to make sure that that is opened up and not crimped in any way. Other than that, make sure you keep your tank on the same level as your printer so that you don't get a siphoning effect or a reverse flow effect that soils the underside of your printhead. And that's it. That's the entire process for fitting a Printer Potty external waste ink kit to this Epson XP-55. If you've seen all of this and you're now thinking, I prefer to install or replace the waste pads, you can see how to do that using this video here. And if you haven't done already, you also need to reset the waste ink counter, and you can do that using the playlist here. It'll show you lots of different operating systems such as the Mac and things, and that will help you get the printer and the error cleared. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope it's been useful. Please do give us a like and a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're interested in more content like this, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.